Hi everyone, this is Shelly from McPherson Arts and Crafts, and I'm here with Brenda and Shelly Marie, and
Hi.
they are going to explain some of the tips and tricks and everything with the Reborn FX Air Dry Paint.
So I'll start, I guess, if that's okay. We've got a lot of new people that are starting to get into painting their dolls, and we are getting a ton of questions. As number one question is always, what do I use? Do I use heat set or do I use air dry? And just to give you a quick synopsis of how Reborn FX came into being, Shelly here is our resident artist, and we're very happy to have her. She's been with us for a long, long time. In fact, she taught in the 80s. That's how long she's been around. Anyway, Shelly was one of 10 accredited Genesis artists. So when Genesis was first created, she was one of only 10 people that got accredited. And so she was very experienced using the Genesis, and this is how she got into painting the dolls, because we already had the paint. I asked her to come and learn it, and she learned it, of course, like she does everything very well. And at one point she came to me and said, you know, we really need to consider coming out with an air dry version. Similar to Genesis, but in an air dry. So at that point, I turned to her and I said, well, then that means it has to be transparent. It has to have adhesion because it's on vinyl, which of course moves. And it has to be archival. And there was one other thing. It was transparent, archival. There was one other thing.
Well, I wanted it to kind of go in the line of Genesis paints.
Oh, the same colors.
Yes,
yeah, that was your idea,
colors, yeah.
which was brilliant.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God, that's a lot of colors to mix.
Well,
but
the thing is, people are coming from a Genesis line. It's easier to look at I want to say a recipe or a tutorial, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that they already had from the Genesis paints, and it's easy to convert this system over to using that same tutorial, basically.
Right.
Instead of using solvents, you're going to use some of the mediums or some water to thin it out.
Yes.
So it's a very easy converted system to use.
So Shelly, of course, started right off the hop saying we have to do all the flesh colors, like that's the most common. And then, of course, as time rolled on, she added more and more and more colors. And in fact, we have well over 100 colors now.
We do.
At this point. But I remember, if I can just say one thing, I can remember you experimenting with it. And then all of a sudden, you just were jumping up and down, and you said, "Oh my God, guess what?" And I said, "What?" And you said, "It can also work with Genesis."
Yeah.
So you can actually heat set this paint, and it won't hurt it. Now, not that you mix it, but that you all of a sudden went, you discovered that it could be heat set, which other air dry paints can't. So anyway, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to give the little bit of a scenario that obviously it was great to work with the paint company that we're working with as well.
Sure.
And they helped us as well to develop this.
Absolutely.
So I was really proud when they were helping me in matching. We were matching different colors, such as in the Genesis line. This is a heat set Genesis. It's
well, that's
peaches.
the Secret brand.
It's a heat set.
Yeah.
But it's called Peaches and Cream, and we just took the acrylic or the air dry version, and as you can see, it's almost exactly the same. There might be a slight difference, but they've got it pretty well on. And working with those colors and coming out was the biggest.
And we went through 3 years of experimenting.
Yeah.
And the rep from the company was here, and we were saying, okay, we have this problem and that problem, and you would brainstorm together and solve that problem. It's still bugging me what the other component was with the air dry. So it's transparent. It remains flexible. It's archival.
It can be heated.
It can be heated, but there's something I'm missing. Anyway, I'll think of it.
We'll come up with it later.
I'll have an aha moment. Okay.
So yeah, I spilled the beans a little bit. Most of it is the Genesis colors will mostly be all found in our color combination here. We took a couple of suggestions from some of our customers who came in at the very beginning. Unfortunately, there was a market out there for a brand that's no longer made called Baby FX Paints. Yeah. So they discontinued their color.
Melissa George's
I think she was responsible. Yeah. So we took some of the popular colors like the the blue spec model.
With her
was
blessing, by the
really-
way. We did talk to Melissa. Yeah.
So, I mean, these colors are also developed
Yeah.
to help those who still had that system. And
Sure.
again, they're tutorials, so they can convert over a little bit more
Yeah.
easily to another
Yeah.
paint system. So that's basically how.
Right.
how
So in essence, you can start off painting with your typical Genesis where you use your sealer, am I correct?
Yeah.
And then you can go ahead and do your layers of air dry. Now, I did ask you at the very beginning, so what? When you were all excited and you said, guess what? This can be heat set. And I said, so what's the advantage? What's the point? And you tell us what you said.
Well, air dry can be faster at applying, and then in a couple of minutes, basically, you don't have to wait till it cools down like the Genesis system
Right.
does. You can apply another layer on top.
So you're layering.
So sometimes the layering can go a little bit in the quicker processing, but at the same time, at the very end, you kind of make up for that loss or that gained time from the Genesis, is because you have to leave any air dry paint at least cure for 48 hours before you apply your very last varnish on top of it or sealer. So it does pick up, I'd say the two systems, the Genesis and an air dry system, in the very end is probably the same amount of time to prepare a doll, but some of the things and the details can go a little faster
Right.
with air dry.
So basically, bottom line is you can use Genesis under it or over it with no problem.
You can, and
Okay.
and a lot of people have come from the old school, basically thinking, oh my goodness, you can't put an air dry on top of an oil. Yes, that is correct, but Genesis is not the typical oil paint. People are combining it with all of the precautions we took with oils and acrylics from the past. Genesis is a polymer-based oil, and our acrylic paints here have a polymer in them as well. Polymers merge together, and that's why our paints bind so well to either Genesis, and your vinyls have polymer in it. So the polymers
Did you just answer my question? Is it the binding that makes them so special?
I
Sorry
don't
for
know.
interrupting.
I was on a rant here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She's very, very passionate, as you can tell.
Sometimes you got to stop me. I can go on and
but
on and
vinyl
on.
is a polymer as well.
Yes,
So
yes.
what you're saying is it melds together.
It melds together.
And that was the beauty of Genesis. It wasn't just a paint that laid on top of that vinyl.
Yeah.
It melded in with it.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. And most acrylics have a polymer in it, but the thing is, how much polymer does it have? So that's your binding, is your
Right.
polymer on top of a polymer type of thing.
Okay.
So
Just quick though, and I know you want to talk about mediums, but what makes Reborn FX? What sets it apart from other air dry paints that you know of that are out there? There's lots of great ones.
there's lots of great
and
ones.
there's what was the old brand that people used to use? Josanya and
Oh yeah, yeah.
Golden and
Yeah,
what else did they use?
And still, those are great. In fact, the golden system is a fantastic.
Yeah.
But with the golden, you're getting pure pigments, and you've got to have a little bit more experience on how to thin them
all
out.
the mixing
And the
thinning
mixing and stuff. So,
and you have agents in this that adds that
Yeah,
adhesion
that's right.
So,
There's
okay.
some extra adhesions in there,
Right.
but
and matting.
yeah,
That's
and the
it too, matting.
and we've
Okay.
got some matting
Sorry, I'm
ingredients
interrupting you again.
in there again.
So what sets this apart? Sorry,
I'll
let you answer.
It is. I don't condone any of the air dry painting systems that are out there with the vinyl. They all work, and each of them have their own little quirks to them, let's say, and each of them have a preferred way that people like to paint. My preferred way is basically, I like a thicker paint because I can control it. If it's too watery and it runs off, it disturbs me. I don't like water painting or watercolor painting because of that aspect.
Even though you did it, but anyway. Okay.
Yeah, you have your favorites kind
Sure.
of painting. But anyways, I like something where I can control. I'm a control freak, I guess. But on the same thing, you can add mediums and you can add a component of water. Just about 30% water can be added into these, and you can get a runny consistency if you do want.
Usually you'd prefer distilled though, right?
Yeah. Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely distilled water,
Okay.
because any of your tap waters could have
Sure.
chlorine or any of that
Sure.
contaminants in it. So
Yeah.
always the distilled. That's the one thing that, and the other thing is, as I said, I've got old tutorials from my Genesis days. I can convert them easily over. I'm a multimedia artist, so I have at least 10 different brands of acrylic paint at home, left from my art days.
Oh, I know.
And I can still...
We used to sell them all.
I know. But I can take those paints and I can use them with this system if I want to change some colors up, and it works fine.
Right.
I don't have any resistance from most of the colors I use. I don't find there's a reaction. You'll know if there's a reaction simply because it won't mix in. It'll either float to the top or it'll puddle or do something different.
Right.
You'll know they're not compatible. But I haven't found any paint yet that's not compatible with this.
Yes.
So I can use up all my
Now,
paints.
we just got through 2 rounds of shutdowns with COVID. In fact, here in Ontario, Canada, we're still in lockdown.
The store is shut down.
The store shut down. But and we're busier than ever though with mail order. But part of the problem that we've run across is that we've been shorted from Genesis. Like, we sell all the different brands. And, we've had issues with like matte varnish we couldn't get it for the longest time. The glazing gel and all that. And yet, if people could learn about this system, they could interject those mediums that they're looking for.
Just make sure your Genesis is cured or heat set before you put it on or underneath.
Yeah, don't mix them.
Don't mix them
Don't mix
together.
them in raw form.
Water.
Yeah, don't mix them. It's a layering that we're talking about. Okay,
Yes, that is definitely
good.
a good idea.
Okay, so do you want to tell us just about these kits that you created?
Basically, I'll tell you a little bit about this, and I was going to do a little bit of talk about the mediums because there's a lot of question about the mediums, but I don't want to make this video extra long and everybody go to sleep.
We can do another one.
We'll do another one explaining your mediums. So with the system, you can, if you're a very basic beginner, there is a lovely beginner's kit here that you can start with, and I believe you have the choice of putting a doll with it as well, or just the paint system.
Do we have that? I'm not sure. If we don't, we'll do it.
There you go. I introduced something new.
And just, if I can say, you have written tutorial.
There's a written tutorial.
But there's also the YouTube.
Yes.
Which is an actual Suto class that we set up to do this kit. Remember that?
Yes.
So it was videotaped on YouTube, or it's on YouTube. It was done a long time ago now, but it was just a few of us that got together and videotaped it so that you could follow with this kit.
Right. And this is a kit that will make a Caucasian baby, light skin. Will be working on one for a darker skin baby because a lot of people have been asking for that, especially some of our beginners want to start. Now the darker skin babies are a little harder, but I think they can do it. Yeah. So we'll make a beginner's kit for that coming up. And then there is the Reborn FX primary set. These are 1 ounce containers. They'll last you quite a long time, but if you do have any of your old Genesis tutorials, this line of paint comes from the tutorials that were made from
Perfect. So they can take their existing
most of the colors
Genesis
in here.
Tutorial, other than the heat set part, they can apply that.
So there's that. There's a correction set here as well, and an explanation of that is on the website at McPherson's McPhersonCrafts.com.
Thank you.
There you go. And there's also, if you just want to give this stuff a try, there's a beautiful little trial kit here. It has a selection of colors. You can do whatever with the paints, and there's even a little vinyl piece that
that's
we have
only
primed.
like $9.99.
Yes,
it's
only.
Or am I saying the wrong price?
No, that's right. And
I think it's $9.99.
You get about. Yeah, you get quite a few colors in there. Just try it out.
I hope I'm right.
You are. I'm pretty sure.
This kit, by the way, is $99.99.
Yeah.
And this one's $150.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and then that one's just the $9. I call it the $10 kit.
Yeah, sure.
So, basically. And then if you want to get really involved, they do have the half ounces, and where you get about 32 colors in there, and the mediums in there.
1 ounce of the mediums, right?
Half ounce mediums. That's
1 ounce.
Oh yeah, the 1 ounce mediums and half ounce colors. Yeah. There, you get that straight. So you can go from there. And as Brenda had said, one of the things that we have over 100 colors now for the Reborn FX system. What we haven't done though is we haven't gone beyond about 3 fantasy colors we've got. going, and then we added a little more. So people are asking, are you expanding our system anymore? I don't think I'm going to be working with the colors much more, because now you can take these colors and you, for instance, if you take your strawberry lips and your peaches and cream lips and you want a different color, just add both of those together and stir them up, and you get a really lovely lip color just from adding those two. So I think we've got a pretty good system here going, that I don't think we need any colors that I'm aware of at this time, but we do need to expand our fantasy line.
Yeah, there's more and more fantasy kits coming out, so we're pretty excited about that idea.
Yeah.
So,
And this is the new thing that is coming out really,
this is news to me.
Yeah, really quickly. It's all set to go. Now she's just got to get it up on the website and get a price on it. But it is, we have got 11 brand new colors, or there's 2 brand new colors in there that aren't even on the shelf yet. They're trial size of all of the fantasy colors we have right now going. The 2 new colors that are added to them are what we call metallic blood, and the other is glow in the dark, because we know there's some really avid
now
people out there.
Can you add color to the glow in the dark?
These are very transparent colors. When you get into the fantasy, they add shine, they add sparkle, they add the brilliancy of the colors to make everything pop in the fantasy area. But if you're going to mix any of the flat stuff in there, it's going to dull it down a little bit.
So some people would want it dull.
Yeah, you can.
Sure.
With the glow in the dark is really recommended, and you'll get a little brochure to tell you about this, is to put it on very last with nothing on top, because it needs to be vulnerable to the light, because as it soaks in the light, it's going to then glow in the dark for you. If you cover it with another color, it's not going to get that UV light coming in on top of it.
Can we get your commitment here on camera to do a fantasy painting sample for us on video?
How about I do the new turtle?
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Kiwi?
Kiwi.
Yes, okay. We'll get her to paint a kiwi for you. All right.
Excellent.
With the new fantasy paints. All right.
So
Is there anything else that we need to talk about? I'm sure this is getting very long.
Yeah, no, I think we'll stop there. And as I said, some questions are about the mediums. Very quickly, people are asking, there's so many mediums out there causing the confusion, but there is a reason for each of them. If you are a very, very beginner, the thing you need to do is you need to have, the most important is your primer. This primer has actually been known to even help with some of the vinyls that they're having problems with paint sticking to, including the Genesis. So this primer that has been developed is excellent primer that you can use.
So you could use this primer and then go ahead and do your regular Genesis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
Cool.
And the emulsion is basically what we call is a medium. It's paint with no pigment in it. So it's exactly the same as your paint, but when you want to dilute it down and still keep the consistency, the thick consistency, then you would add this emulsion, and you add as much as you want. There's no limit on that.
And our paints do have a very strong pigment, right?
Yes.
So it can go a lot further by adding that emulsion.
And as I said, you can add about 30% water on top of all of the mixing as well, and that is
now,
fine.
can I ask, how much would you recommend be the top limit of what they would?
Well, they can add as much. Just remember, this is paint.
Right.
So it has no color. You can add as much as you want.
You can have 70% this if you want.
Oh yeah, and add 1 drop of little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
It's paint with no pigment, basically.
Okay. All right.
The dilutant is basic with it. That is, it's just it will thin your paint out, but it still has a little bit of binder in it. So if you want to add more than 30% water and still want it more watery looking, you can add some dilutant to that and add more water on top of that. So that's your mixing. Other than that, I think the very basics is there. The sealer is important. People get mixed up. That's maybe one thing I will, and I'm sorry I'm going on and on, but people get mixed up between sealer and varnish. A sealer binds your paint all together and protects your paint and keeps it the adhesion to the vinyl and flexes as it goes. The varnish is something that is totally different. It's a protectant for scratches and scuff marks, and the varnish can actually be removed. So if you take, I usually tell people, you can have household ammonia, and you can add a portion of 1-to-1 ratio with water, or I could go and use the clear Windex or window cleaner. It has ammonia in it, and if you spray it onto a scuffed mark and take a cloth and wipe, it will take that scuff off, and you're removing the varnish, and then you can put on another piece.
But you have to have the sealer under that.
The sealer under
right?
it protects all your paint, so the ammonia isn't
Okay.
going to affect your paint
So
at
as
all.
long as your sealer is over the paint,
That's exactly
you can
right.
remove the varnish
That's
without affecting
exactly.
your paint.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you got it right on.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted. There's a lot of confusion with varnishes and sealers, and the same with a sealer is not a primer either. The primer makes the paint stick to the vinyl more. The
Yes.
sealer binds all the paint on top of the
Right.
vinyl. So those are the true art for explanations
Sure.
of what these mediums are.
Good.
So I will stop now. I've gone on
So
too
bottom
long.
line, Reborn FX is unique in the fact that it can be mixed with other air dry paints,
Mhm.
and it can be used on top of or underneath Genesis. So it's great for people that haven't made up their mind yet.
Mhm.
Then that's the number one question, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Where
And if
do
you
I start?
decide
Yeah.
later on down the road that that reboarding isn't for you and you've got all this paint left over, I had a person come in the other day to the store when the store was open, and she told me it worked great on her plastic lawn chairs. So
Well, there you
go.
Oh yes, we were at a show one time, and there was a bunch of people there with those resin dolls.
Yes, the
And you
resin
remember
dolls.
the lady who came up to us at the booth and she said, "Will it work on resin?" And we said, "We don't know." And next thing you know, our booth was getting flooded with people coming and
Because
buying
they
it
found
because
that it worked
it
on
adhered to
resin.
the resin. So anyway, we haven't discovered everything yet, but we're still in the
Yeah,
starting
yeah,
stages.
yeah.
So thanks, guys.
Thank
Sorry
you,
it was so
ladies.
long. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.